make way my 80-meter coil is. Yes, the 80-meter coil. If you're looking at the top of the coil, the first three on the left-hand side is in the number 1 position, and then the one on the extreme right is in the number 2 position.
Which is 1 and which is 2? With the front panel of the thing in front of you, the 1 is on the right.
No, it's
That time.
numbers are on the coil itself. But next time I'll talk to you afterwards.
Alrighty then. CQ, calling CQ the old friends net. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, calling CQ the old friends net. This net meets 3 times weekly, Sunday evenings at 6:30, Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock, and Thursday mornings at 9 o'clock on this frequency. This net's conducted in the amplitude modulation mode, carried out in the round table format. Any station that can generate an AM signal is welcome to participate. It is a great place to exchange information as you've been listening, and to look for parts, pieces, and maybe trade a rig or two occasionally. The focus is mainly on vintage gear, but any gear that can generate AM is welcome to be a part. So, CQ the old friends net. Stations wishing to check in, give me a call and come down.
N4LQ.
N4WD. WF2, KG4, IUQ.
W4 camera.
K1 BBC.
WB4 NKL.
M4 LYQ. Okay, let me tell you what I have. N4LQ, N4WD, KG4 IUQ, and someone doubled with Mark just before Stan. W4KR, K1 VVC, WB4 NKL, N4 IYQ. Who was the station that doubled with Mark just before Stan and right after Mir?
Dave, I think it was me, KN4R.
All right, Brian, we got you. KN4R, I'll put you right after Mark and right before Stan. All right, do we have any others? Okay, we have Lyle. Who else?
K4 BWG.
All right, have you, Lee. Any more? All righty, let me run through the list once again. N4LQ, N4WD, WF2U, KG4IUQ, KN4R, W4KR, K1VVC, WB4NKL, N4IYQ, N4QE, K4VWD. Any others? All righty. Well, this is our first nighttime net in a while. Seems like the middle of the night, but even though it's just 6:30 and, well, 7:30 our old time. But everybody's sounding good. We've got 56 degrees, 55 degrees, clear, and it's been a beautiful day up here in eastern Yancey County. So we'll go ahead and get started. Steve, go ahead and kick us off. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Okay, WA4LLR, N4LQ in Shelby, North Carolina. Name is Steve, running the Johnson Viking 1, receiving on the Hammarlund HQ110A and the horizontal loop antenna.
putting out about 90 watts AM. And let's see, I guess that's the high point of what's going on here, and I won't hold it. I'll just pass it on around to Bruce, who has been enjoying a lot of AM lately. And I think Bruce is recovering from the sniffles. N4WD, N4LQ.
Okay, N4LQ. Just might tune in there, N4WD. Been listening. There are a lot of old AM rigs out there. So, and a good discussion going before tonight, the net tonight also. 67 degrees, clear. Humidity is way down, smoke all over the place from fires and we'll get the rain they're talking about Thursday. Around also. FTU, N4WD. Yeah, Roger. N4WD and the net, this is WFTU. Good evening, everybody. It looks like night. And it's 62 degrees here. It was a beautiful day. And I almost fell asleep before coming out here. We worked several hours clearing leaves, or blowing rather, from our dog training area, which is 60 by 180 feet. And it was deeper than ankle height. And both the ex-whale and I have our own blowers. She has the lighter one with electric start. And by the time we came in and had lunch, was after 3 o'clock. Anyway, so that's the story. We've been very, very busy with other things too around the house. Still cleaning up the results of that big tree falling next to the deck. And what else? Didn't do much with radios except I brought the Johnson G76 from my storage to set up here and use it on the net. But I was sidetracked with that leaf blowing, and since I haven't used it for about a year and a half or so, actually I had it on this net several times. I didn't want just to throw it online before the net. I needed to go and let it run for a little bit, make sure that it's okay. But I didn't have time, so maybe the next couple of days. So, everybody sounds good. Dave, you're 25 over 9. Steve, you also about 20 to 25. Bruce, 10 to 15, a little bit more QSB on you. And then I'll give reports to the following people in the next round. And yeah, Brian, you were 20 over 9 when we exchanged reports just before the net. So with that, it goes to KG4IUQ. This is WFTU.
Thank you very much, Mayor. This is Mark, KG4IUQ. I'm on the multi-LMAC AM68 with a PMR8 receiver using a 80 meters dipole, and it's down low, kind of 30 feet up approximately, and I'm using an amplifier. I'd like to turn it down and see if you can hear me. Everybody sounded really good I have to say that my ear is very clear here. Very, very good sound. Everybody else is good too. I've been working a lot on the VFO. I think it works pretty good on AM. I've used it on CW. It's a bit, I think it's just kind of hard to use on CW. It needs to have a way to key it in a very simple way. I like to keep on trying, but I'm going to build this thing. I bought a chassis, and I'm going to, an enclosure, which I'm going to put it in. I'm even going to put a power supply in it. I'm going to turn it over now to Brian, KN4R. This is KG4IUQ.
Okay, Mark, very good. KG4IUQ. And the Sunday old friends, this is Brian, KN4R, Cheryl's Forge, 60 degrees, and maybe some rain, I think it was this Friday, maybe. Bruce, I hope you get your rain and send it up our way, because we certainly need it. But everybody sounds unbelievably strong tonight. Mark, you were 20 over on my Scott test meter here. So just beautiful signals so far. Let's see, I'm on the Globe Camp and listening on the Black HRO. And the only difference here is that I'm actually on the VFO of the Globe Camp, and I haven't done that in a while. It got very, very unstable. But I replaced the OA2 regulator tube, and that seemed to have done the trick, hopefully, for the moment. So hopefully you're not hearing a bunch of, or seeing a bunch of frequency instability. So let's see, I have been enjoying the Heathkit radiation meter that Dave loaned me. I knew I had a really hot Japanese Army field radio, and I'll send you guys some videos. And I have 3 R390s and A's here, and 2 of the 3 are fine, and they have nice white meters. And the other one has sort of reddish, a little bit of reddish, cranberry-looking meter, and that's the one that's hot. But also my Chinese Vietnam-era radios have a hot meter as well. So, and I found one German set that had one switch that is hot, which I've never seen a German radio with a radio on it. So it's been a very interesting learning process. And Dave, I'm going to get that radiation meter heading back your way on Monday, and I really, really appreciate the loan. So over to you, Stan. W4KR in the group, KN4R.
All right, Brian. KN4R, W4KR. In Wagoner Township, outside of Walhalla, outside of West Union. Anyway, good evening, everybody. About 56 here this afternoon. Late afternoon. Beautiful weather today. Just great. Copying everybody fine. Haven't been on the air in a couple of weeks. We had company. We had a little bit better than a motel out here, I think. We had family down from Michigan, family over from London, so everybody was here at the same time. So the old man got to play Grandpa a little bit, but didn't get to play radio. So don't know exactly what was going on, and before the night I kind of lost track of start time. Dave, sorry. Anyway, with that, I'm going to turn it back to John, back toward Gurway. K1 VDC, W4KR.
Yeah, very good, Stan. Good signal from everybody, and nice to hear everybody on today. It was a beautiful day, and it's going to be nice, I guess, into the beginning of the week. Not much to report here, except I was down at the Lawrenceville Ham Fest, and saw Cliff and Chuck down there, and probably several other people that get on infrequently. And the weather was nice. It was a little chilly in the morning, and the turnout was fairly good. Not great, but there were really some wonderful things there, including one transmitter that I tried to get Cliff to buy, but I think he was a little bit late. And by the way, Cliff, he sold that transmitter for $35. So if it wasn't too big, and if I had room for it, I would have bought it. But it was unusual. But they had a good turnout. There were a lot of boat anchors there, a lot of parts, and mostly a lot of good friends. And Charlie I hope he comes on this. Successful delivery of the big Navy receiver who brought that Morales K3VJ. Worked out great. WB4NKL, K1VBC.
K1 VVC, WB4NKL. Okay, John. Next time you see one of those, go ahead and buy it, and then tell me about it, and I'll buy it from you. That would have been an interesting transmitter. I didn't see Alan. I guess he was there, but I didn't run across him. Guess our paths just didn't cross. Good evening to everybody. Everybody's sounding great here. Running the Globe King 500, and conditions are good tonight. I got a good time at the Ham Fest. I didn't bring home, collected up some AF67L Max. I think I brought 3 of them home and a receiver. But I didn't need another one, but the price was right, so I couldn't pass them up. Had a good time. And Mark, W4WWC, and Chuck went with me. So we had several good meals together and enjoyed the trip and the companionship. So go ahead, neighbor Chuck. N4IYQ, it's WB4NKL.
Okay, WV4NKL and the old friends, N4IYQ. Good evening all the way around. As everybody said, all the signals are really good tonight. Good audio all the way around. And we certainly did have a good time on the trip to Lawrenceville. Left down mid-morning Friday, got down there about 4 o'clock. Had a little bit of a delay going in, but got to see John, BBC, got to see Ron Beaver, got to see Carl, RCW, and a few others around that we stay in touch with on AM. And the weather was just outstanding. A little chilly Saturday morning. I think it was about 38 degrees. We layered up. The only thing we missed was like to have some gloves early on. But as the day went on, before we departed, I was down to short sleeves. A lot of equipment around, like some money changing hands. And, Cliff always says he's not going to buy anything, but the van was loaded down coming back. I picked up a remote antenna switch and a swan meter and sold a few other things. So it was a lot of fun, good weekend. I thought they had pretty good attendance. Didn't see quite as many new vendors inside the building. HRO, Chattanooga Radio, of course, Wireman was there, and Tower Electronics saw them. So it was a good turnout. Like I say, lots of fun. We ate some good food. Saw a little bit of smoke coming back home. Coming up through the mountains, we went down through Waynesville, Franklin, Clayton, Georgia, Tallulah Falls, and ended up down on 985 as we got closer into the Lawrenceville. But great trip as always. Gonna be a little dry spell. We're going to find something else to go to. Lyle, N4QH, N4IYQ.
Yeah, okay, N4IYQ. N4QH, very good, Mark. Yeah, sorry we missed the Hamfest. Just got too much going on here right now. Hey, the DX60 here tonight, HR 10B receiver and a dipole, so just running 50 watts tonight. It does okay, especially at nighttime here. But yeah, I wish I could have gone to the Hamfest, but I know me, I pick up a million things that I don't need, so maybe next year. Okay, over to K4VWD. This is N4QH, over.
Okay, very good. This is K4VWD. Well, you're running S9 and a little above here this evening. It's 60 degrees and dark here in Greenville. I'm using the AF68, and I'm getting a lot of change in my plate current, and I don't know what's causing that. But anyway, I want to thank Charlie for repairing and replacing the capacitors in my banded amplifier, because I'm running about 200 watts with this AF68 and my dipole, and receiving you on the PMRA. So, Charlie, if you happen to be listening, thank you very much for the repairs. And I also want to thank John for coming over here and getting it all hooked up. Seems to be working just fine. At least I hope everybody's copying okay. And let's see, I don't see Glenn on here. So with that, I'm going to shut up and turn it back to you, Dave. WA4LLR in the group, K4BWD.
WA4LLR in the group, and
Okay, got you, Glenn. Was there another one?
N4YN.
Don, I heard you way down in the mud. Are you sure you got everything on?
Don't know what frequency I'm on, that's all.
That may be the issue. You may be a little off frequency. Glenn, I'm going to have to turn it to you. You'll come after Lee next time. And Glenn, if you will, turn it over to N4YN. So, N4AK, go ahead and make one.
okay. The signals are good tonight. I hope everybody's copying me. I'm kind of down in the basement warming up some old equipment, the TS2000 and an amp and a G5RV. And weather was beautiful here today. Everybody's got nice signals. You're down just a little bit, Don, but copying you okay. Nice to hear about the Hamfest report. That was interesting. And Lee, I sent you a story, a letter, I think, in the mail. Maybe you got it. Don, to you, and for YN, November 4 Alpha Kilo.
Oh, well, Glenn, let's see. Well, I launched it. I think my counter says I'm closer. It's running about 10 watts. If everybody can hear me, if I can't, I'll turn something else on. But I miss Lawrenceville, slept through it. That sounded like everybody had a good time. And I guess Cliff filled up his new building a little bit more. Sound like everybody's having a good time. I'm surprised I was working on this NC400 trying to keep it from drifting, which, not possible. But I'm trying anyway. I don't know who to turn to other than Dave. I just got on here, just heard y'all yakking and surprise, surprise. Recognized some call letters. WA4, Dave, if I ain't stout enough, I'll turn the F on. N4YN anyway.
Okay. I'm copying you okay, Don. I'm assuming everybody is if Glenn's hearing you, so maybe your 10 watts are doing all right. Let me stand by again. Do we have any other stations that would like to join us? Come now. All right, nothing heard. Very good. Good copy on everybody on that first round. Steve, the Viking 1 sounds good. And Bruce, sorry about the smoky conditions down there. If we don't get some rain, there's going to be a lot of it everywhere. Mir, sounds like you've been busy blowing leaves and clearing brush. And Mark, I hope you win the VFO battle. I know you've been having some struggles with it. It sounds like you're in hot pursuit of fix. Brian, glad the OA2 regulator stabilized your VFO. Seemed to have. And glad the radiation monitor or meter worked out for you. Stan, sounds like you've been playing Grandpa, which is a good thing. And John, glad you enjoyed the Ham Fest. Cliff, sounds like you came back with a load of LMAX. Chuck, good to hear you. Glad you picked up a remote antenna switch and a meter and had a lot of good food on the trip. Well, sorry you were busy and couldn't make the Ham Fest. And Lee, you're very strong up here. I'm hearing a little bit of hum, but don't worry about it. And Glenn, if you're on the 2000, that's really good audio. I'd just be curious as to how you've got it set up, because I know my 2000 didn't sound like that. And Don, sure glad you ran across us and joined in with us. Let's see. We had a geomagnetic storm hit about 5 o'clock this morning, and it kind of got everybody by surprise. It went up to moderate, almost severe, got to the G3 level. K-index got up to a 7, and we're still having some instability from it. The sunspot count's 95, and the solar flux index is 155, and the K is still fairly high. So I'm surprised we have the good conditions that we do, but that's good. I'll take it. A few things from this day in history. On this day in 1605, the English had the gunpowder plot, which has come to be known as the Guy Fawkes Day. The Roman Catholics, led by Robert Catesby, tried to blow up Parliament and the King on this day in 1605. On this day in 2013, India launched its first interplanetary spacecraft, the Mars Orbiter mission. On this day in 1940, Franklin Delano Roosevelt was elected to an unprecedented third term as president. On this day in 1914, France and Britain declared war on Turkey, widening the conflict to World War I. On this day in 1913, British actress Vivian Leigh was born. On this day in 1911, Roy Rogers was born. And that's pretty much it for this day in history. So, I'm running the BC610C as usual and receiving on a Hammarlund HQ150. So, Steve, back down to you. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, N4LQ. Yeah, that 610 sounds good. And I think Cliff came back. No, not Cliff. Who was it that bought a HQ150? Just talking to him the other day. Oh, that was Billy. Bought an HQ150 down there at the Hamfest. Anxious to try it out. Anyway, couple of things. There is a report of a lot of forest fire around Hendersonville. So I noticed Charlie wasn't here, and I've texted him to ask him about the situation. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't smell any smoke right now, but I have seen ashes falling from the sky from somewhere, and that can come from a long ways away. And Brian, I wonder if you checked your countertops, the granite countertops, to see if they're doing anything as far as radiation goes. There was a lot of talk about that. And speaking of granite, makes me think of gypsum. And there's a thing going around the neighborhood group here that there's warnings out, and it has been for some time, about drywall from China. And if your house was built or received new drywall, sheetrock, between 2005 and 2008, it was contaminated with some kind of sulfur, and it causes a corrosive effect on copper and silver, and it can corrode your pipes and your wiring. And it says warning signs may include failure of displays on TVs, DVD players, radios, and microwaves, light bulbs burning out at a faster rate, silver jewelry and utensils may be tarnished, and failure of satellite TV receivers. And as far as health risk, it can cause respiratory issue, nosebleeds, rash, headache, coughing, sinus problem, and you could be suffering from toxic drywall. So there you go. Don't know what to do with it, but something great to think about. And Lee, I hooked your AF68 up here, and it worked perfect. I beat on it, fiddled with it, talked on it, everything, and there's nothing wrong with it. The VFO is wonderfully smooth, and so I don't know. Then I smelled it too. Didn't smell a thing. So I don't know. I'll clean the contacts on the connector again, just to be sure it's not a loose contact, but that's about all I know to do. And Cliff is your go-to source for AF67s now. There's 7 of them listed for sale on eBay, and Cliff has a whole house full of them. So go ahead, Bruce. Hope you're having a good time down there. N4WD, N4LQ.
Okay. 4LQ. Steve. This band changing, you went way down on me. So I won't keep it long. Yeah, Hawaii up there and up by the dam in the river they got there. We have one on Lookout Mountain here that's still smoldering, so it's not generating as much smoke. But they're sitting there everywhere. If you go wipe your car down with a white rag, it'll probably come up black. And we're going to say 73s. I hate to run. Wife just came in and she's got supper, and it ain't no good cold. And the cat won't eat all of it, so I'm going to go in and get my share of it there. So y'all have 73s, and I'll catch y'all during the week. God bless. Keep y'all all safe. And hear you on the radio on the AM. There. KF2 you N4WD.
Where'd you go, Mayor?
Roger. Oh, yeah. I put down the microphone and I took a little nosedive. It was hanging on the cord. This is WF to you. Everybody's coming in really great, and signals are booming in. Don was actually sort of the weakest because of the QSB and 4YN. Goes down, Don, you go down to like S8, and then you go up to 9 plus 10 dB. So it's a pretty deep QSB. But okay, so let's see the so let's see who's next. Okay, Brian, I gave you already. I gave Mark, I think. I gave Stan, John. Okay. John 15 to 20 over 9, and that was good for you about that. Hamfest, and I didn't reply to your email because I knew that while you're traveling and over there, you're not going to read it anyway. So I might just check in a different way or whatever. So Cliff, you're 20 over 9. IYQ 59 plus 20. QH 59 plus 10. K4 VWD. Okay, Lee 9 plus 20. Glenn 9 plus 20. And with that, we finished the reports. Anyway, I'm running the Yeso station, the FR101D receiver, which is all solid state with a digital display, but it's actually just a frequency counter. It's not a digital VFO. And then the hybrid transmitter, the DFL 101 that has a regular analog display, but I can transceive it with a receiver and get a VFO to run. And the amplifier is the ASU FL2100 Bravo, putting out something like about 310, 320 watts on peaks. The antenna is the 80 meter half wave and fed about 40, 45 feet it's sagging a little bit on one end, but I have to replace the little mesh that it's hanging on the peak of the roof. It was a TV antenna mesh that was here before we moved into this house, and by now it corroded completely, so I have a replacement. I just have to stand it up there and connect everything. As usual, things just get postponed a lot every time there is something to do around the house and things like that, and it always takes precedence. So what can I do? All right, so it goes to Mark, KG4IUQ. This is WFTO.
Thank you very much, Mayor. You're sounding really good here, Mayor. Very clear. The Yesu station sounds real good. And Dave, your BC610 is sounding really good. And, I've had some trouble, with this VFO, but I just think of it as what's normal. It's, when I actually get to using it on the air, I'd say that, well, for AM phone, it's fine. There's no problem. But in CW, I need some kind of break-in ability where I can hear at least every now and then while I'm sending. If I don't want to be on the air thinking somebody might be sending something while I'm sitting there sending for a while. And that's just very comfortable with what I have here. I'm gonna keep working on it. I have a really good friend, old friend of mine. He's in Tennessee, and he is going to send me in the mail a Harvey Wells Bandmaster AM and CW transmitter with a power supply. And he's going to send me a Heath VFO. He knows that I have interest in these vintage stations, so he's doing that, and I'm really happy about it. I think what I'm going to do, if we have another round, I'm going to come on here without my amplifier on and see if anybody hears me. I'd like to do that test, but I'm not going to do it right now. I'll do that if we actually have another round. I'm going to turn it over now to Brian, KN4R. This is KG4IUQ.
Okay, Mark, very good. KG4IUQ in the group. KN4R. Well, I'm enjoying all the strong signals. It's not a problem. Dave, you're hitting 30 over. Lyle is probably as strong as I've ever heard him. Don sounds just fine down here. And Glenn, your audio is superlative down there tonight. So very good on everything. Mark, good luck on your quest for full break-in. And it is good to have a friend in Tennessee. So good luck on the Bandmaster and power supply VFO. Sounds wonderful. So, and Steve, I will check out the graded countertops before I box up Dave's radiation meter and send it back to him tomorrow. So, let's see, what else have I got? And okay on the toxic drywall. My house was built, I think, around that time, maybe 2009. I'm not sure, but no signs of toxic drywall yet. But I certainly have heard about it, and it's not something that I'd want to have to deal with. I don't know how you would remediate it other than take out all the sheetrock. So listen, sounds like Lawrenceville was another great ham fest. John, tell me more about the old transmitter that you could have bought, but it was too big. I'm assuming it was black and an open rack. And if so, I wonder how tall it was, and was it homebrew or was it commercial or what? So, but first, let's go back to Stan, W4KR in the group, KN4R.
Well, hey, Brian, I'll keep it short. KN4R. WG4KR. Boy, copied everybody just great. Well, QSB, but nothing that's getting in the way. Wish could have gone to Lawrenceville, but we just had too many people here in the house, and I couldn't do it. I wonder, by the way, what the next one is. If there's anything toward the end of the year, I think there's something over east here a little bit, but I'm not sure exactly where. Because I'm ready for anything. Didn't get to go to Atlanta or over to Alabama, and I had planned to go to Lawrenceville, but then this family stuff started to brew up, and away we went. Anyway, John, I pulled one of the coil sets out of the box, and on the left side of each one is there are two holes. There are no markings on the holes, so I don't know which one is one or two, but they're in the left two of the five. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say something too. Going to bail at the end of this one, and we shall see everybody, Lord willing, Tuesday morning. I wonder, Dave, next time around, are we planning on staying at the 6:30 thing, or are we going to go back to 4 o'clock? Who do I turn it to? I turn it to K1 VVC. That's what I'm going to do. W4KR.
Very good, Stan. W4KR, K1VVC. Well, I'll just help you with the manual with the clues before you go. If you have an early manual, for the early transmitter, it's on page of the 1935 manual. There are 5 screws or 5 holes across the top of each section. If the flat-headed screw is in the left-hand hole screwed in, that's for broadcast or general coverage. If you move it to the opposite, the 5th hole, that would be to the right, and screw it in there and all the coils, that would be for the band spread. And if you still have trouble, send me an email and I'll try and make a scan of all the information for you. But it's on page 7 and on page 17 of the original HRO coil. And Brian, the transmitter was a desktop, a late 30s RCA. I think it's ACT-40. It's an AM and CW desktop transmitter. When I say desktop, I mean pretty big. It weighed about 100 pounds, but extremely, extremely unusual. And I just didn't have room for it, but the fellow sold it for $35. But Cliff, I was talking to the fellow who bought it when he was loading it in the car. All right, when I was helping him load it in the car. And he's going to be bringing it to sale to that, I think it's Kutztown in Pennsylvania, AWA meet. He's going to have it for sale there, so you might have another chance at it. And as far as all the LMAC AF67 transmitters, there were so many of them there. I don't think any of them sold more than for $10 or $20. I think Cliff bought like 3 of them for $40 total. But he could probably tell you more than that. WB4NKL K1TCC.
K1 BBC, WB4NKL. Yeah, I passed on a couple. One of them was 20, and I think I give 10 for one, and then Billy gave me the other one for nothing. So, but there was 2 more left that I didn't get. So it was a lot of AF67s, and I did get one receiver. If anybody wants to look at pictures, they're on Alan's website, M4OZI. He's got the pictures of the infos. Did a good job on them. And so you can check that out. And those transmitters are under the table on one of the pictures I noticed. But that's good, John. I hadn't planned on going to Cutstown in the first one's in May, close to the Ham Fest, so I might have to change my mind on that. I wonder if I got the guy's call. It'd be nice to prearrange something if I could get in touch with him. But there was he had another little RCA unit there. I noticed sitting on top of the wood. I wonder what that was. It was a newer unit, but it was a RCA something. And let's see, Dave, you missed one of the dates in history. 1954. It's when I was born on November the 5th. Me and Roy Rogers. So I remember seeing that or knowing that years ago. I was a fan of his years ago. And Chuck, the little Swan mirror is working. I've got it in line here now, and it's doing a good job. It seems to be pretty accurate. N4 IYQ, WB4NKL.
Okay, WB4NKL, N4IYQ, and geez, I'm not good on remembering dates, and I knew and I forgot. Happy birthday, Cliff. And, Cliff's going to be my reminder also. He and Linda's anniversary is the same date as myself and Tammy. And we both forgot the anniversary this year. So Cliff's supposed to prompt me to remind me next year before the anniversary date that we both don't forget. So happy birthday, Cliff. Appreciate knowing you. Appreciate your friendship. We had a lot of fun going through the Ham Fest. Well, the Kenwood PS570 night drive, the SB221, and I say everybody's sounding great. Lots of fun. Next Ham Fest coming up. If you want to make the trip, Cliff, 7 hours and 38 minutes. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Mark's already nudging. So there you go. Food for thought. Everybody in my life, it's certainly good to hear everybody. Hope nobody gets any damage from the forest fires. So we saw one small one burned coming up past Waynesville. As we got back on 40 going towards the actual from Waynesville, you could see some off to the, I guess it would have probably been the southeast. So keep your head up and pay attention. So good night, everyone. Thanks again. N4 QH, N4IYQ. Good day. N4 QH coming up. Yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago. Summer night, a huge run and I'm today in my junk box. It's a short DJ on 68 single circuit phone plug. This is a short version of the PJ 068. I don't remember who wanted it, but it's free if you want it. I'll send it to you, but I don't remember who wanted one. So, anyway, the last one will be on the background on Tuesday here.
Okay, this is K4VWD. Well, Lyle is still strong, sounding good. And my power meter is jumping around, and I'm not sure why. I don't understand. I got a little bit of downward movement on the plate current, but it's very small. But the power meter is going from like 250 watts down to about 175 when I talk. So the talking is changing it for some reason. Let's see. Happy birthday, Cliff. I got a great grand that's gonna be 6 years old Tuesday, so it's fairly close. And Glenn, I got your letter Friday evening late with the mail, and I read it yesterday, and I talked to Grant about it this morning in Sunday school. So thank you very much. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And Steve, I guess the problem with that radio is the operator error. and I don't know what I did. I have no idea what caused it, but I'm concerned. And John did a good job of hooking this thing up, and I guess everybody's hearing me, and I don't know why I've got home, Dave, but maybe with the rig that Steve's got, it'll go away. I don't know. We'll see. So, Steve, thank you very much for checking it out. I do appreciate it, but I have no idea why I could not make it work. So I'm going to call it operator error. And Glenn, here she comes. And again, I enjoyed the Lord. Info K4 VWD.
Okay, K4VWD in the old friends group, November 4 Alpha Kilo. And Dave, here's the TS2000 information. I'm using an MC60 mic. Menu 21 is on high boost. Menu 22 is on 3 kilohertz. That's the transmit filter bandwidth, 3 kilohertz for AM. So anyway, by the way, thanks for calling the net for us tonight. And Steve, all right, on the toxic drywall, I've heard of that before, so it looks like they couldn't get us with the toxic drywall, so then they gave us COVID. And Mayor, thanks very much for the signal reports. All the signals are very nice tonight. So, Don, over to you with your 10 watts. N4YN, N4 Alpha Kilo.
Okay, Glenn. Well, said I went to an 8, I turned the thing on, I'm ready to 100 watts now. And modulating up around 4. This thing is a aJohnson with a controlled carrier modulation because I didn't have room on the power supply to put a plate transformer. So it's basically like old Allied Radio T150, I guess. But seems to work. It's a cheap way of getting around the plate transformer anyway, or modulation anyway. But Glenn, I've got an NC400 for you. I hate to see you not have one. If you're interested, we can trade it for 8 or 10 the AF67s, I guess. Just forget it. Anyway, everybody's good up here. I'm not having any trouble copying anybody. And good to hear everybody again. WA4LLR, N4YN.
Okay, Don, let me take one quick standby. Any late check-ins, call in. All right, nothing heard. Glenn, thanks for the info on the TS2000 audio. I made a note of that. Let's see. Bruce is checked out. Stan is checked out, and he was asking about, are we going to maintain 6:30, or do we want to shift the time? And I guess, Steve, that what you need to do there is maybe send out a survey or something, whatever. I don't have an answer for that one. Cliff, happy birthday to you, and Chuck, if you're still listening, happy anniversary. Chuck checked out. Lyle checked out. I think those are the only ones. So if we want to do a quick 73 round, we can. Steve, you'll turn it to me. Brian, you'll turn it to John, BBC. Cliff, you'll turn it to Lee, VWD. So we'll go ahead and do a 73 round. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, N4LQ. Well, this net time thing keeps coming up, and every time it's brought up, we decide to leave it at where it is because it works so well. It got brought up the meeting before last, and we had planned on talking about it, and we did, and everybody voted on it and said leave it where it is. And then it came up again today, several different directions. I don't know, but yep, it stays the same. So until further notice, I don't really say, and we're actually, since the time was turned back, I'm not even sure what time it is. So there you go. Let's see, Lee, you are definitely overdriving that amplifier because your power going down, like when you speak, is causing that, and I can tell by the sound of it. It's not good for it. So you need to somehow reduce the power on that AF68, turn your loading down, way down, and dip it again. And that usually that'll get it down far enough, you'll be okay. At least that's been my experience here. Uh, and I want to say something to Mark about break-in with the Harvey Wells. That thing, back in those days, we didn't know what break-in was. We pretty well, I used a knife switch to switch from transmit to receive, and so did a lot of people. Some people had a lot of money and they bought Dow key relays that they could flip another switch to switch the antenna back and forth. But break-in was something that kind of came out later on, and by the mid 60s, some of us were using electronic break-in vacuum tube devices. So, you're running into people that are used to it on CW with their box semi break-in and so forth. So, you're just gonna, it's just the way it is with these old rigs. Let's see, don't think I had anything else, so I'll say my 73s and give it to Mirror, WF2U, N4LQ.
Very good, Steve. N4LQ and the group WFTU. Yeah, okay. I really have nothing to add. Waiting for any possible changes. All I know that actually 6:30 is not very convenient for me per se. It's hard to actually come out and do an hour because this is about the time that the dogs are used to being fed, and then I have to let them out and all that. So, and it sort of cuts into our dinner time too, because instead of dinner, I take care of the dogs first. So, yeah, I much prefer 4 o'clock or even earlier, 6:30 or even 5 or 5:30. But 6:30 is like just about the most inconvenient time for me. And I think a couple of times I just couldn't even make it. So that's the input from this end. With that, thanks, Dave, for running the net. Conditions were pretty good, and I was glad to hear whoever came on the air here tonight. And again, John, I'm glad you enjoyed the Lawrenceville is great, and I didn't even think about it. I was so busy. Otherwise, maybe I would have been able to make even some arrangements that I could make it, but maybe next year. So 73 all, have a good night and a good week. Tuesday I have things to do in the morning. I have some appointments and I won't be able to definitely get on the air at 9 o'clock. So, let's see. Goes to Mark. KG4IOQ. KG4IUQ. And the group, This is WFTU 73.
This is KG4IUQ, Mark. I have turned off all my excess power there, and I'm going to try to see if I can't get some people hearing me here. I'm going to do it now. I'm hearing a sound coming from inside the transmitter there, from the modulation there. Steve, I understand what you're saying about the fact that the break-in is a fairly recent addition in CW. I'm just used to it. If I've been for a little while, a minute or something, I feel kind of like a little bit of an anxiety that somebody might be trying to get through and send something, or so it's really just my problem there. I think the VIA mode I've been working with is working. I'm going to keep working on it, try to get something else to run too. I'm going to turn it over now to Brian, KN4R. This is KG4IUQ.
Okay, Mark, very good. KG4IUQ in the group, KN4R. Well, Mark, you got something going on a little bit. Your signal really didn't drop much here. You turned off the anthem. You were talking about hearing the modulation monitor. I mean, the modulation transformer. Well, that's what I was hearing from here. So there was something a little squirrely there. But good luck with the full break-in. And John, very good on the ACT40. I looked on the web. I found a picture for an ACT20. Yeah, it's pretty kinky looking transmitter, so desktop transmitter. So I assumed the ACT40 was similar but bigger. So hey, it's really cool that maybe Cliff has an opportunity if he goes to Kutztown to bring that thing home. Hope so. Love to see some pictures. I don't think I've ever seen one before. And happy birthday to you, Cliff, and also to your buddy Roy Rogers. And the next Hamfest here in North Carolina. It's still a haul, but it's not as bad as Fort Wayne, is the Benson, North Carolina Ham Fest, which is Sunday, November 19th. So Benson's over toward Fayetteville. So, and I don't think that's the one that Stan was alluding to as far as one being east of him. So, and Steve, I'm going to go down and check the granite countertops here in a little bit before I box up that meter. And again, Dave, thank you so much for the loan of the meter. Yeah, you said you had 3 or 4. If it turns out you have an extra one that you might want to sell, let me know. It's probably something I need to have dealing with old radios, so especially old military radios. So let's see. Stan is gone. So John, back to you. K1BBC. Put the ribbon, tie the ribbon on it. This is KN4R.
Yeah, thanks, well, Brian. KN4R, K1BBC. And I believe it was the ACT40. And Brian, Cliff, if you're still there, I didn't get his name. He was not a ham. And the other receiver was actually a Harvey's Wells. I can't remember the nomenclature. They made a transmitter and a receiver. They were matching. And Harvey Wells made a whole version of the ham. The one that Harvey Wells sold was a ham version only, and it went with the matching transmitter. But they also made one for RCA that was general coverage, which is fairly rare. And that's what that receiver was the RCA general coverage. I think he sold that one for $30. And Lee's going to get mad at me, and that's okay. He's usually mad at me anyhow. But Steve, I want to touch this. When I went in to hook the amplifier up, in Lee's operating desk, he had a frequency counter with a telescoping antenna under one of the shelves, but instead of the telescoping antenna being vertical, he had it stretched out horizontal. And because there was no cabinet on the AF67, the telescoping antenna was literally resting on the rotor plate of the, I guess it was the loading capacitor, that's the top one. The capacitor was like at halfway, so the rotor was like vertical, and the metal telescoping antenna was resting right on that. and we're having a lot of feedback problems. But as soon as I move that away, I think we get the feedback from. So who knows? Lee, I'll be happy to stop by and take a look at it again if you promise not to be bad at it. I don't know if Cliff's here or not. I think he said WB4NKL K1BBC.
Yeah, still here, K1 BBC, WB4 NKL. Okay, John. Thanks for the information about the guy going to Cuts-Down. So that's another reason maybe to go back up that direction. Mark, I copied you fine on the 10 watts, but there's like Brian was saying, there's some kind of artifact on your modulation. You could hear it. Sounded like on the peaks it was doing something. And let's see. Thanks for calling it, Dave, and enjoyed it. Try to catch everybody Tuesday. And Dave, I probably won't be around in the morning on 3885. Daughter's wanting to go up into Virginia on the canyons. It's a hike up there above Abington. We got to get an early start for that. So try to catch you later on. So 73s. Go ahead, Lee. K4 VWD is WB4 NKL.
Okay, very good. This is K4 VWD. Well, I got the loading control turned all the way off, and it's still moving quite a bit. And I turned down the power, but I'm still running about 200, 225 watts, something like that. So I have no idea what's going on here yet, but maybe I'll have some time to play with it tomorrow. Mark, I will agree that there was something wrong with the audio, but your signal strength, even with that turned down, was very strong. So you still had a good, strong carrier. Let's see. I wrote a note down. Now I can't. Oh, the time of the net. The 6:30 time suits me fine. I don't really care, but if you want to change it, that's fine with me. But I have no problem with it. And John, I have unhooked the antenna on the frequency meter, but I turned down the audio just a little bit, and the feedback's gone away. So I don't know. The feedback was still going on today, even though it was not touching the variable capacitor. So I'm not sure about all that. All right. Well, the temperature has dropped here to about 57 degrees. So I hope thank you, Dave, for doing the net, and I do appreciate it. And Steve, thank you for looking at that rig, and I'll get it back one of these days. So 7-3, God bless everybody. I do appreciate it. So Glenn, here she comes. N4AK in the group. K4VWD.
Okay, K4VWD in the group, November 4 Alpha Kilo. And that time's fine with me here also. Happy birthday, Cliff. And, yep, every Saturday morning we had a Roy Rogers or a Lash LaRue or Gene Autry movie in the little hometown of Blakely, Georgia. And saw this rig here, the TS2000 and the AL1500 is my plastic and ceramic rig. Thanks again for doing the net. N4YN, if you're still here, Don, N4AK.
Oh, yeah. Still here, Glenn. Same operation on Saturday, too. Roy Rogers and Lash LaRue and Gene Autry. Get into the movie and get a Coke and popcorn for a quarter. Oh, well. Let's see. A friend down at the beach had a somebody mentioned the modulation transformer and Bill Tinkham. We had a VC610 set up down there, and that was, as far as I was concerned, best sounding thing on earth. You hear yourself rattling the transformer. And I always try to get another rig to do that, and I haven't let them do it. This thing here don't have any high level modulation, so the only way I can hear myself is to turn something else on, the feedback. But it's still fun to get on there. Well, I'm going to clear off this end. And like I said, everybody's sounded good, and I've enjoyed the net. And Cliff, if you're still here, think about change. I got an NC 400. If you got some spare AF 67, we might work out a trade of some sort. Anyway, that's about it. WA4LLR N4YN.
Okay. N4YN WA4LLR. All righty. Well, thank you, everyone, for participating in the night. We had 14 check-ins. And hopefully we'll catch up with you on Tuesday morning. Other than that, everybody have a great evening. 7-3. God bless, and Lord willing, we'll catch you later. WA4LR, Burnsville, North Carolina, closing this session of the Old Friends Net.